Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, August 1st, 2019. Got a game that's about to start in 10 minutes, so just want to talk about that real quickly. Thursday, August 1st, 2019. I know what's wrong there. Let me fix that. There we go. Okie dokie. All right. So, again, early start today, Twins at the Miami Marlins. Because it is a new month, we have a lot different date numerology. Today, the primary date numerology is 48 and 21. We don't get that life lesson number method until we get to the double-digit days. And the lesser date numerology is 28. The day plus the month is 9. So anyhow, the Twins, what stands out in a big way is Michael Pineda. If he wins today, he'll be 8-5. Twins equals 85, and so does Miami Marlins. So you have a double connection to that number, 85, 8-5 record. The thing about Yamamoto being on the mound is if he won, he would be 5-2. Minnesota is 52. If he lost, he'd be 4-3. Florida's 43. With regards to the records, the Twins will play Kansas City next. Kansas City equals 67. We've seen a number of teams in recent times start their series on a 67 against Kansas City. Again, Kansas City 67. We see so many teams go in with the right amount of wins or losses to face an opponent. If the Twins pick up the win today, they'll get their 36th away win. Miami is 36. Good city to get number 36 in. If the Marlins do lose today, they'll become 7-8 versus the American League. Minnesota Twins is also 78. And I guess just one more thing to play devil's advocate. If the Marlins picked up the W, they would get their 22nd home win. Twins is 22. But I like that overlapping connection with Pineda and how both teams connect to 85. I think that's the stronger riddle. Do something real quick here before the game starts. Just double check who these pitchers are facing next. 2, 3, 4, 5. So Pineda would face the Braves next. The only thing I can say about that is Braves have the 67 Gematria, the reflection of 85. But you know what else? Braves is 95. So if Pineda won, it would give him a chance to beat the Braves and become 9-5. I like that more than the reflection. And then the Marlins schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yamamoto will face the Mets next. And his win or loss record's not really going to make a difference in terms of the next opponent. Okay, so that's the first game. Next game starts in about an hour, so let's go back and review yesterday's games and then get to today's games. So the Braves have the slightly better riddle as we covered yesterday. They made it interesting at the end of the game, the late rally by Washington to take it to extra innings. But we saw how Soroka, who ended up getting a no decision, a win or even a no decision sets him up for his next game against Minnesota. He'll have a chance to become 13-3 for his career against Minnesota. Minnesota's 133. Sanchez, we saw that he could fall to 6-7. He was on his way until the game got tied up, but Braves 67. He's going to face San Francisco next. He's going to go into that San Francisco game with a 6-6 record. He'll have a chance to get to 7-6. San Francisco 76. The Reds looked good yesterday. They had pretty much everything lining up on their side, plus even this day in history, something we started to look at. They picked up their 70th, or excuse me, the Pirates picked up their 70th loss all time on that day in history yesterday, and Cincinnati Reds is 70. The Yankees did beat the Diamondbacks. We thought they would split this series. Very well got both games correct in that one. The review video I did for the first game in the series, I started to say, looks like Aaron Boone, it would be perfect if he lost this first game and then come back and even it up at 39-39. Getting Arizona and New York 39. So that was that. The Blue Jays in the Kansas City series, every single game was about 14. K plus C is 14. Again, game one of the series, the Royals became 1-4 against the Blue Jays. Game two, the starting pitcher became 1-4 for the season for the Royals. And then game three, the score was 1-4. And the Blue Jays swept the Royals. They picked up their 23rd win, kept the Royals on 23 home wins. Sweep equals 23, as does Blue Jays. And yesterday had the 23-date numerology. The Blue Jays don't do a lot of sweeping on the road. The Dodgers had the better riddle yesterday through the pitchers. 2 days in a row, it seemed more about Coors Field with the pitchers. So Dodgers got it done there. That head-to-head record made a lot of sense with the Dodgers win. So no surprises there. The Angels were huge favorites. The Tigers had a little narrative to get it done, and they did. So what that means is the Tigers did not pick up their 58th loss versus the American League. And again, they were dishing out that number the whole first half of the season, but now 2 series in a row against 2 lowly teams, the Orioles and the Tigers, the 58s didn't come through. So I don't know why that would shift, but for the time being, it seems that maybe the 58 is no longer going to be a consistent pattern with the Angels. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. But Detroit had a narrative yesterday. Suarez had a chance to become 2-2 on the season. Angels is 22, and he did. Became 2-2. Norris became 3-8, the reflection of 83 Detroit Tigers, 83 Detroit Michigan, 83 Detroit on the 83rd Meridian. Also, the Angels did get their 33rd loss on this day in history. Tigers is 33, and they evened up the series against each other for the year 3-3. So there were a few things there for the Tigers yesterday. They were a nice payout if you took them. The Giants and the Phillies. I thought the Phillies would win yesterday, but I said there was also a narrative for the Giants to potentially win 2 in a row. So we're going to look more at that. And that narrative had to do with the Phillies getting to those 25 home losses. So if they lose again today, SF is 25, Giants is 25. Philadelphia is also 97, the 25th prime. Let me see if pitchers got – it looks like Samardzija got the win, 8-8, and Velasquez got the loss. So I thought those pitcher riddles were going to make more sense if it went in the Phillies' favor. But there was the little narrative there for the Giants to win 2 in a row, so we'll see. The Astros and Indians. The Indians yesterday, let's see, what was it? So the Indians avoided picking up their 23rd loss on the 23 date, but they did even the series at 3-3, Cleveland 33. That's for this year. And they became 1-1 at home on the 31st of the month, 31 the 11th prime, 1-1 like 11. They stayed at 11 home losses all time against the Astros on the 31st. The Astros had a chance to give the Indians their 23rd home loss and pick up their 23rd win on this day in history, something we just started looking at. So that didn't come through. But the 3-3 thing, the 33 thing in Cleveland, that often plays there. So not shocked that the Indians won that game. The Rays and the Red Sox, 2 days in a row, the Red Sox had quite a bit lining up for them, and the Rays had one little thing. And both days for the Red Sox, it was the same number, 53. Boston Red Sox, 53. Kittredge had a chance to become 5-3. He didn't get the decision, but his team still won. And look at that score, 8-5, Boston 85, Red Sox 85. So 2 days in a row, deja vu with the Rays. And again, exact same scenario. Quite a bit lining up for the Red Sox. One little thing for the Rays, but it was just that one little thing. And I should also mention that we looked at this day in history. I did point out how the Rays could become 12-7 on this day in history, which was yesterday, and they did. It's kind of like 127, the 31st prime on the 31st of the month. So maybe something to that as well. The Twins looked a little bit better than the Marlins yesterday, but Alcantara had a narrative to possibly win, and he's pitched really good in the second half. Twins did win the game. I'd say no surprises there, but just they weren't a great payout, and Alcantara was the risk factor. The Cubs looked good to beat the Cardinals yesterday. Hendricks' record made sense with a win. He got it, 8-8. St. Louis Cardinals, 88. Mikolas' record made sense with a loss, 7-11. He'll face the Dodgers next. Dodgers, 117. And then also the head-to-head record. The head-to-head record between the Cubs and Cardinals. It was a big sign. Cardinals became 4-7 versus the Cubs this year, or the Cubs became 7-4 versus the Cardinals, and St. Louis is 47-74. It's nice when those head-to-head records line up both ways. The Mariners ended the Rangers' winning streak. The Rangers seem to have the better riddle through the pitchers. The double 44 connection. Minor had a chance to become 4-4 against the Mariners for his career. Seattle 44, Rangers 44. LeBlanc had a shot at his 44th loss. So that double 44 was definitely the standout thing. The Mariners, the one riddle they had possibly going in their favor was giving the Rangers their 23rd home loss on the 23 date. But one day after the 22 date numerology came through more than not, the 23 date numerology did not. So again, we're still in the fluctuation period with the date numerology, but that 44 riddle did look good. So no surprises there. Rangers won 9-7, Mariners 97. Both New York teams won yesterday. Mets won 4-2, White Sox 42. And doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And like we said, it was a tight riddle yesterday. I said if the Yankees won the first one, take a stab at the White Sox upsetting the Mets because they're a nice payout. You can make an argument for the White Sox. Unfortunately, that strategy didn't work out. But I don't think I mentioned it yesterday. I should have. You might have caught it yourself because we said enough. The Mets did stay on 35 away losses in Chicago. Chicago is 35. Chicago stayed on 46 wins in Chicago. Chicago 46. And then the Brewers and Athletics game. Lyles, you could make sense of his record with a win or a loss. Anderson, you could make sense of his record with a win or a loss, so it wasn't clear through the pitchers yesterday. We talked about how the Brewers should win at least one in this series, possibly two. So they got their one win. Now today they'll have a shot at number two. And again, the reason the 25th away win would make sense by winning two is because Athletics is 97, Oakland Athletics is 97, 97 is the 25th prime. So we'll look more at that in just a moment. But it wasn't a bad day yesterday. Could have been better, but it was still a good day. Got the majority of games right. So as long as you get the majority right, you stay ahead of the curve. The Twins are up early, so hopefully it stays that way. Again, like we just covered, if the pitcher for the Twins gets a win, his record makes a whole lot of sense, and it sets him up with a chance to become 9-5 against the Braves in the next game. Pineda can become 8-5 today. Miami Marlins 85, Twins 85. He faces the Braves next. Braves 95. And Yamamoto faces the Mets next, so his numbers, win or lose, aren't really going to connect to the Mets. Caller?
Hey, so I wanted to mention a couple things from yesterday's games. If you look at the Athletics game, it ended 2-4. It was a sink with Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson Field is where they play, and behind home plate they have a giant 24. 24 is his number that is retired.
Okay.
It was 147 days till his next birthday, 4 months, 25 days, or 21 weeks. It was 21-day numerology. It was also 7 months, 7 days, including the end date for his last birthday. So that seemed to sink in with it perfectly. And then it ended with number 4, or the pitcher, which was born on 4-7, getting the save. And it ended with a pop-out. Pop-out equals 23 full reduction on 23-day numerology, and pop-out is also 42 in keypad. So that's less of a cipher used.
Okay.
And for the Rangers game, what stood out for that, so it was 23-day numerology, N equals 23 English ordinal. You had mentioned the day before Texas Rangers equals 56 or 52 and 6 equals 52. And so what ended up happening was the sync with the gematria of the word end tied in. So end is 45 and 46 when you use capital E or the lowercase e in Frank Baconus. It's also 14 in full reduction. The Mariners were 1-3 against the Rangers this year. They went to 1-4. And of course, 43 full reduction is the Mariners gematria, and that's the 14th prime. Also, if you look at the Red Sox game, what stood out there and why I think they might actually lose today is because they were 1-6 at home.
Now they can get to 1-8. Rays 18. I talked about that yesterday. If they lost 2 more, they'd be 1-8. Rays 18.
Yeah. So it seems to be that's going to be the case that happens today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up yesterday. The Ricky Henderson thing was just too crazy.
Very interesting. So they don't actually. The official name of that stadium isn't Ricky Henderson Field, but what is that? Like the alternate name?
I guess. I mean, it's on the field itself. I can send you an email with the photo of it, but
okay,
it's like they have it just like emblazoned.
Or maybe that's what they call like the field instead of the actual stadium. Okay, that can make some sense. All right, interesting.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever noticed that. But then, as soon as I was like trying to figure out what was going on with that score, I noticed that, and it made perfect sense.
Yeah, good observation.
All right, let's get back to it. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Okay, so Giants and Phillies. So now the Giants do have the narrative in their favor to potentially give the Phillies this 25th home loss, because we know how the Giants dish out the 25. So Derek Rodriguez is 4-5 on the season. I've noticed how the 55 show up with the Giants too in a number of games, and what I make of that is, the square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So if he won, he'd be 5-5. He'd get to 11-9 on the season. And I know Bryce Harper. I'm pretty sure Bryce Harper equals 119. What is the 119 thing with the Phillies? Bryce Harper is 119, 65, 61 like Philadelphia. Oh, Philadelphia was established as well on a date with 119 numerology. That's the other thing about Philadelphia and 119. So anyhow, this Rodriguez, he comes in 4-5. Phillies is 45. Arrieta's on 106 wins. Philadelphia Phillies 106. His next loss is 76. San Francisco is 76. So Arrieta, if he did lose today, his record would make sense. He'd stay on 106 for the time being, pick up the 76 versus San Francisco. Let's look at who these guys face next, actually. Giants schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Giants will face the Nationals next. And unfortunately, 46, 55, neither of those numbers connect with Nationals. Washington, D.C. is 56. Was that game in Washington, D.C.? No, but hosting the team from there. He could end up being 5-6 after the Nationals game. That would make some sense. The Phillies schedule. Today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Phillies got the Diamondbacks next. And forget, do they have a connection to 89 or no, one off? Wait a minute. No, one off. All right, so we can't get much of a clue actually for either of their next starts. But if Arrieta did pick up his 76 loss against San Francisco, that does make some sense. And Okay. The only thing I could say about Rodriguez losing and becoming 10-10 is revelation in Jewish Gematria equals 10-10. Of course, Philadelphia is named from Revelation. The first ever 49ers game I went to in San Francisco was on October 10th, 10-10, and it was against the Philadelphia Eagles. Didn't know anything about Gematria back then, but now I look back at that. That was the game where Alex Smith got into it with Mike Singletary. Remember that. Anyway. That 76 loss and the 25 in the record seems incriminating for Philadelphia today. Today's a span of 149 days from Arietta's birthday. The reason that's interesting, well, 149 is the 35th prime. There's no 35s on the board, but revelation does equal 149. I guess I'll just make these notes. The Phillies are 5-4 versus the Giants. If they lost, they'd be 5-5, you know, kind of like the 25 thing. They'd become 5-2 at home. Prophecy 52. We also talked about how the Giants won 2 in a row. They'd get to 2-5 at Philadelphia, kind of like 25. Plus, they'd get that 25th home loss. The Phillies would. The best narrative for the Phillies today to win is just through the NL record, because they could get their 50th win versus the National League and San Francisco's 50. So it's not out of the question that the Phillies win, but the Phillies would stay on 24 losses on a 24 date if they did, but staying on the number is not good. But again, Arrieta with that 76th loss makes sense. And as much as 25 plays with the Giants, and especially since Philadelphia is also 97, the 25th prime is another thing to consider. So I smell trouble for the Phillies in that game. One other thing I'll point out, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that was the 98th NFL season, and then we figured out after the Super Bowl that every time Philadelphia had ever won a sports championship or an NFL championship, it was their first of the Super Bowl era, but going back in time, all of their championships were on 98 date numerology. The word prophet is 98 in light of Philadelphia being named in Revelation, the book of prophecy, but still, all that just seems a lot more abstract than Arrieta getting the 76th loss and the way the 25 plays for the Giants. So the Phillies aren't the Eagles either, but it is the same city. Okay. And, you know, the thing that I hate about the sometimes I think I'll just what I hate about looking at the distance in birthdays and trying to figure it out is it seems like every time that I feel like I figured it out and then I make an assumption based on that, it's wrong. And then when so for example, if you've been watching the last few days, I was trying to point out, saying, you see how when it lines up with the team name, the team just keeps losing. So it seems that actually more often than not, when it lines up with the team name, the team loses. And yesterday we had 2 games like that. Yesterday was 106 days after Bochy's birthday. Philadelphia Phillies is 106. The Phillies lost. And then Hinch, the manager of Houston, it was 77 days after his birthday. Houston 77. Both teams lost. But the thing is, the other day when I was like, okay, I'm ready to actually make picks based on that. Do you remember what happened? Those teams won. Both of them won on that day. And it was like, what in the world? I mean, and then so that's just why baseball can just make you pull out your hair. But it does still seem that the overall narrative is that when the birthday does align with the team, they're going to lose more often than not. So, and yesterday, both games that were that way did have that conclusion. So, okay, Mets and White Sox, last game of the series here. The Mets are on 35 away losses. Chicago is 35 if they stay there. Possible. The White Sox are on 46 wins. Chicago's also 46. Wheeler, however, his next career loss is 37. He could get his 37th loss. Chicago's 37. And again, Chicago divided into 77 neighborhood areas. And did yesterday's pitcher, it was Syndergaard, right? Did he get the decision yesterday? Let me see, where was he at? No, he didn't. He had a chance to become 7-7 yesterday. Or DeGrom, that's what I mean. He had a chance to improve to 7-7. His team won, but he didn't get the decision. All right. Okay, so the way the direction of the 77 would be today is if Wheeler lost, and he'd get that 37th loss. Chicago's 37. The White Sox are 6-6 versus the Mets right now, and they're 3-4 at home. The trouble with that is Chicago is 35 and 44. So you can make an argument either way with that home record. Let's think about who these pitchers face next. All right, so the Mets start their series with the Pirates tomorrow. And in Pittsburgh. What could make sense about that? If the Mets got to 58 losses, Pittsburgh's 58. So the odds of that happening would be increased if the Mets lost today, because then they wouldn't have to be swept by the Pirates. What's are the Pirates playing today, or are they on a rest day? Let me see. How many wins do the Pirates have right now? Pirates are 47-61. And go over all my Mets. 761. And at home, they should get at least one win. Mets is 24. They got swept by the Mets. And they ended that losing streak against Cincinnati. Okay. Okay. Let's think about Wheeler, who he faces next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Marlins. Now that's interesting, because if he won, he faces the Marlins next, and Marlins is 86. So if he won, he's 8-6 going into the Marlins series. How about this Dylan Cease guy? White Sox at the Phillies. They got the Phillies next. If they lost, they'd be 1 off 61, that Philadelphia number. Games in Philly. Okay, and he'll face 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Tigers next. If he had a record of 2-3 facing the Tigers, again, Detroit Tigers is 83, the 23rd prime. Okay. So that's not clear. You know what? Something I want to pause and do real quick is go to Pro Baseball Reference, and let's do this day in history thing. I think this is worth. I think we can get some big clues here. So today, let's look at this Twins Marlins game real quick. On this date, the Twins are 57-55. The Marlins are 13-11. Let's see really any great clue for that game. All right, let's see. Giants Phillies. On this date, Giants 73-52. If they lost, they'd get 53. Pennsylvania's 53. If they won, the Phillies would become 5-2 against the Giants. Hold on. Let me go back to that Phillies-Giants thing. If the Phillies did win today, they would be 6-1 at home as well. Philadelphia is 61. So that would be one other narrative for the Phillies. But I'm still looking at that 76th loss for Arrieta and all those 25s. Yeah, that game's actually not an easy call. Keep scanning for the right game. All right, but let's go back to this day in history. 73-52, 71-50. I don't think. Well, they could stay on 50 losses. San Francisco's 50. Let's make a note about that. So if they didn't lose, they'd stay at 50. Okay. Mets and White Sox. The Mets are 26-30. The White Sox are 67-44. Okay, I don't see anything clear with that. So far, the 67 riddles don't really seem to have much impact. The Brewers and Athletics. Brewers are 15-33. If they lost, they'd get their 34th loss. Athletics is 34. All right, let's document that. So they get the 34th loss. That definitely stands out. And there's not really anything here on the athletic side that lines up. Blue Jays and Orioles. Blue Jays are 19-21. Those aren't Orioles numbers. Today's date numerology is 21, but so far there doesn't seem to be anything with the date numerology in this day in history. Where we've seen the riddles come through so far have been the team name Gematria. So, and that makes sense. The Orioles are 55-49. Blue Jays is 49. Let me mention that here. Orioles are, what was it, 55-49? So if they stayed on 49 losses. Okay. And the Rays and the Red Sox. The Rays are 10-8. The Red Sox are 55-57. Those aren't numbers that go. It's the Rays' 19th game on this day in history, which is the 8th prime. They stayed at 8 losses. I guess I can just document that. Again, if the Rays win today, they're going to make the Red Sox 1-8 at home against the Rays. And Rays equals 18. Let's see. Okay. Boston's on 55 wins. I don't think that's too big of a deal. Okay. Astros and Indians. Astros are 24 and 27. It's 24 to 8 numerology. Indians are 55 and 59. I don't think those numbers connect. Cubs, Cardinals, 67, 55. Ooh, Cardinals could, their 55th win. Chicago Cubs is 55, but there's that 77 too. Cardinals are 54, say, on this day in history. Chicago Cubs equals 55. All right. And the Reds and the Braves. 61, 63, 56, 65. Well, what's interesting about that is if the Braves lost, they'd get their 66th loss on this day in history. We'll have to look at that. Cincinnati 66. Dace Sclafani can also become 6 and 6. Braves are 56, 65 on this day in history. Caller?
Hey, so today has 176 date numerology on the Hebrew calendar, and if you go back to that Cubs-Cardinals preview, you'll notice that the 176 is showing on this date record as well. So besides that,
what was the 176 that was showing?
So they have like 55 and 76 or something like that.
Oh, so you're saying the numerology breakdown. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so the Cardinals are 54 and 76, and then the Cubs are 67 and 55.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's more abstract. The main thing that I have going for this game is the Cardinals are my favorite today. The Cubs with the loss would go to 21 and 33 away. It's a 21-day numerology. It's actually double 21-day numerology. And they would go to 30 and 33 at night. Both of those reduced to 36, or 3-6 on each side. Cubs equals 63 reverse ordinal. They're playing the Brewers next. Brewers equals 36, and right now it's the Cardinals game, so the Cardinals equals 36 full reduction. And the Cubs will get their 21st NL loss as well. And then the Cardinals would improve to 31-23 at home, like 4-5. Cubs equals 45 English ordinal. And then they will go to 36-35 at night games. Cardinals equals 36 full reduction. And Flaherty's 4-6 on the season. Chicago Cubs equals 46 full reduction. Chicago equals 46. And if he wins, it would improve him to 13-17 career. Chicago equals 37. And then the Cubs have staying on the 21 away wins on the 21 days seems to work. If they did lose 2 in a row, they dropped to 22-22 against the NL Central on the 22 day.
Okay.
So that's just what I had come for it. So I'll let you get back to it.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. Yeah, what stood out to me about Lester is if he loses again, he's 9-7. The 25th prime St. Louis is 25. So I think he's probably going the right way with that game. And the Cubs would stay. Ooh, actually, no, I take that back. That's not true. That's the one riddle for the Cubs, staying on 43 losses versus the NL. But hold on, we'll get to it. Let's. I just caught something interesting in that Dodgers game. If they win, they'll be 65-63 on this day in history. San Diego Padres are 65. Yeah.
I forgot to mention one other thing. So Lester will next pitch against the Athletics, and if you'll notice, he's 9-6. There is that 106 connection for the Athletics, but the 9-7 seems to play more.
I'm sure it does.
Lester used to play for the Athletics, and if you look at yesterday's Athletics game, the guy who lost for the Athletics, he went to 9-7, and the pitcher today, Homer Bailey, I believe, he's 9-7. So it seems to me that at best, Lester will get a no decision tonight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, that was all.
All right, see it. Okay. So yeah, this Giants and Phillies game. Arrieta with a loss, 76 loss versus San Francisco. Phillies would pick up the 25th home loss. Giants 25, SF 25. Patterns that hit a lot with San Francisco, both those numbers, 76 and 25. The prayer for the Phillies is to be 6-1 at home versus the Giants because Philadelphia is 61. That's not out of the question, but at the same time, if the Phillies lose, they'll be 5-2, or from the Giants' perspective, they'll be 2-5 at Philadelphia. So Phillies can also pick up their 50th win versus the NL. Who did the Phillies play again next? White Sox. And that was at home. White Sox is 57. Their next win's 57. They could get that against the White Sox. Okay. So Mets and White Sox, we were saying how Wheeler, if he lost, he'd get his 37th loss. Chicago is 37, but he faces the Marlins next, and Marlins is 86. If he wins, he's 8-6 on the season. 2 days in a row, the Mets are big favorites on the road. And today actually makes sense because Cease is not a good pitcher, but yesterday they were big favorites going up against the White Sox ace Giolito, and they did beat him. But that line seemed weird yesterday. Cease will face the Tigers next. Detroit Tigers 83, the 23rd prime. If he did win, he'd get to 2-3. But could get a no decision. And it's hard to say off the head-to-head record what'll happen. Mets on 35 away losses. Chicago equals 35. And again, who do they play next? Let's get the Pirates next. So if the Mets lost one, they'd have a better chance of getting to 58 losses versus the Pirates. Let's play Pirates next. Pittsburgh equals 58. 3 losses from 58 losses. Okay. All right, the Brewers and Athletics game. So either pitcher could fall to 5-3 today. Milwaukee's 53. It seems that when this scenario comes up, more often than not, the way the number goes is against the team that could pick up that number against the opponent. So Mangden, for example, could become 5-3 versus the Brewers. And it seems like historically that's what's more likely to happen, picking it up against the opponent rather than the player for that team picking it up. But that does happen too, because again, he is the Milwaukee pitcher. Council's at 373 wins, which is the 74th prime. Oakland, California, 74. Today's 277 days after Melvin's birthday. Oakland Athletics 277. And again, it seems that more often than not, when that happens, the birthday lines up with the team. It's not good for the team that it lines up with. Recall on July 27th, 27/7, the 59th prime, the Oakland Athletics picked up their 59th win of the season. But that wasn't synced up with the birthday. The Brewers are 4-8 versus the American League. If they did win today, they'd be 5-8. Oakland's 58. The A's are 6-4 versus the National League. Oakland Athletics is 56-65. But to play devil's advocate, again, Oakland, California is also 74. If the Brewers do win today, they'll get their 25th away win. Again, Athletics is 97. Oakland Athletics is 97. That's the 25th prime. They can get that 25th away win. Let's look at who the pitchers will face next and see if that gives us a better clue. One, two, three, four, five. So Anderson will likely face the Pirates. I don't think Pirates have a connection to any number like that. Yes, that's not going to help out there. The Brewers are going to go play at the Cubs next. Cubs is 27. I don't think that's a great clue either. How about the Athletics schedule? Today, 1, 2, 3. So he's going to end up facing the Cubs next as well. If Bailey lost this game and he lost to the Cubs, he'd be 9-9. Cubs is 9. Wait a minute. Okay, sorry. This morning when I did it, Mengden was on the mound. So I'm still talking about the stats as if he's still on the mound. It's Homer Bailey. All right, hold on. Let me fix this. I hate when they swap out the pitcher. Okay. Homer Bailey, number 15. He's 76-84. And for the year, he's 9-7. 9-7 for season. 2-1 with Oakland. And Oakland's 22, but if you use the rule K, it's 31 as well. Okay, so I guess the 53 thing only applies to Anderson. And what's Homer Bailey's birthday? May 3rd. May 3rd, how funny, 5-3. Okay, today, May 3rd, 2019, 90 days after his birthday. Isn't Brewers 90? Isn't Brewers 90? Let me check that out. Yeah, Brewers is 90. So again, typically that's not a good sign. Okay. Well, we have a contradiction because we have it with the Athletics and the Brewers. We saw that if the Brewers lost on this day in history, they would get their 34th loss. Athletics is 34. All right. Make sure Wrigley doesn't have that 99 connection to. Oh, Wrigley is 99. Wrigley is 99. Okay, so man, if Bailey lost today and his next game at the Cubs, it really would make a lot of sense. Becoming 9-9, Cubs 9, Wrigley 99, Illinois 99. So yeah, it's tough. The interleague play records can make sense both ways if the Brewers win. But like I commented on a couple days ago, a lot of the interleague records, it's been hit and miss. I always hate when they swap pitchers. Um, yeah, this day in history, so far, what we've only observed it for 2 days, but so far in 2 days, the Gematria riddles have really been coming through. So just makes me wonder. If the Brewers do lose today, it would be another one of those in the bank, picking up the 34th loss on this day in history versus the Athletics. So you do have a riddle for the Brewers to lose, but you got one for the A's as well. All right, let's keep on moving for now. Thornton is 3-7. If he lost, he'd be 3-8. Ontario's 38, where Toronto is. We have seen some 38 riddles, especially with the Raptors. Wojciechowski. I don't believe the Blue Jays have a 77 connection. Blue Jays. They do have a 49 connection. I think it's when you write out 77, it equals 49. Let me check that. Yeah, 77's 49 like Blue Jays. All right. So it's a little bit abstract, but I'm just going to note it. 77 equals 49. Blue Jays equals 49. Hyde comes in 36 and 72 for his career. Again, Toronto equals 36 and 72. If the Orioles lost, they would be 36 and 72 for the season, which again are both Toronto numbers. Let's see. We saw the Orioles were 55 and 49 on this day, meaning they could stay at 49 losses versus the Blue Jays. Okay. Let's see who they face next. Today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Likely face the Rays next. Tampa Bay is 47. So if he won, he'd be 4-7. Florida does equal 38, but they're not Florida. They are Tampa Bay, so he could be 4-7 to face the Rays next with a win. And that would make the Orioles 36 and 72. The Blue Jays are playing with some momentum right now. They just did win 3 straight against Kansas City. All right, how about Orioles schedule here? Games, no, 4-game series. Think about that too. 4-game series, they're going into the Rays next. If the Blue Jays won 3 out of 4, say, they'd be 1 shy of 47, that big Tampa Bay number. It's possible they could play well against Tampa Bay, but good chance they're at 47 wins by the end of the Tampa Bay series. So how many games is that? 7 games. Orioles and Blue Jays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in 7 games, if they won 4 and lost 3, 47 and 70. Not sure the Rays have a 70 connection. Tropicana Fields 70. So that's very possible that that's their record by the end of that Rays series, 47 and 70. And it's hard to imagine them winning the series with the Rays, but let's see. It'll start on a date with 25 and 52 numerology. 25. If the Blue Jays came in with 25 wins, they'd still have to win 2 out of 3, though. The date numerology got hot now that's the beginning of the month. That would be nice. All right, what about the Orioles? Just going to make this note. Let me make the note. Okay. I'm also thinking about it. So game 2 of that Tampa Bay series will be on a date with 26 numerology, and then game 3, the Sunday game, would be on a date with 27 numerology. However, the Orioles do tend to play better on Saturday. But winning that game 2 or 3 could have them on 27 away wins on the 27 date. And that would have them at 47 and 70. Let's look at the Orioles schedule here. One, two, three. Wojciechowski will likely face the Yankees next. Well, that's tricky because New York's 33. Okay, so that's not clear. That Toronto thing, that 36 and 72 thing is so hard to ignore. That's really popping out. If the Blue Jays only lost 1 game in this series, they'd have 34 away losses. Maryland is 34. Yeah, it's too bad that both matchups can make sense for the pitchers, but they can't both win. So is that Orioles game in New York? No, it's in Baltimore. All right, let's keep looking. The Astros and the Indians. Wait a minute, let me go back and look at this Danny Salazar guy. Yeah, whoops. Yeah, he's making his debut actually this year. He doesn't have any record this season. Okay. What stands out about his record is he comes in with 38 win. Astros is 34, and his next loss is, or he comes in with 38 win. Astros is 38, and his next loss is 34. Indians is 34. Cleveland's also 33. Okay. It's 78 days after Hinch's birthday today. Cleveland 78. Yesterday was 77 days after his birthday. Houston 77, and Houston lost. Today Cleveland could get it. All right. The Indians are 38 and 27 versus the Astros and 19 and 11 at home. Again, if they stayed on 38 wins for this series, Astros is 38. Indians are 3 and 3 versus the Astros, 1 and 1 at home. Cleveland's 33. Indians is 34. Actually, here, we'll take down the 33 because that already happened. Astros is also 43. It's tricky. If the Astros did lose today, they'd pick up their 33rd loss versus the AL. Cleveland's 33. They'd also stay at 61 wins, and Ohio's 61. So their record versus the AL would be a tribute to the city they're playing in. We'll look more at the splits here with these pitchers. See the career records. Cleveland's next loss versus the AL is 40, and Houston does have the 40 Gematria as well. All right, let's look at the splits here. He's 1 and 1 versus the Indians. And what about at Cleveland? 0-0, 3.86 ERA. Okay. Salazar, let's see. Astros. 1-0 versus the Astros in 4 starts. Really great ERA against them. And let's see. 18 and 11 at Progressive Field. He hasn't pitched in so long is the concern. Seems more often than not when a guy pitches for the first time in a long time, he doesn't typically have his best outing, and Astros are a good hitting team. Just we have this here, let's see what they're saying about this guy. Let's find an article. Off season. Yeah, nearly 2 years. That's a long time. Over 17.1 innings pitched in his 6 rehabilitation starts. Salazar allowed 16 hits and 5 runs, all earned with 5 walks against 28 strikeouts, while holding opposing hitters to a .235 batting average, combining a 2.6 earned run average. He wears the number 31. Houston's 31. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it might be smart to sit this one out. It's too dicey when a pitcher's making a big return. Let's look at who Cole's going to face next. Let's see here. Astros got the Mariners tomorrow. And let me see. I got too many windows open. All right. Mariners. Connection to just thinking about the Astros' upcoming season with the series with the Mariners. The Mariners number that stands out is 43. It's hard to imagine the Astros getting to 43 losses. If they lost today, they'd have to drop 2 against the Mariners. Let's see. Then they got Colorado next. Colorado's the next 43 team. Okay, Cole. Let's see. So Cole will play the Rockies at home next. If he got his 13th win this game, he could get his 14th versus Colorado. Colorado's 43, the 14th prime. Colorado Rockies. Wait a minute. There's one other thing about Cole's record. Hold on. Or actually, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, Houston's a big favorite. Seems, again, more often than not, when somebody's making their debut for the first time in a long time, doesn't go so well. If Salazar doesn't get a win, he would stay on 38, and Astros is 38. 38 career wins, that is. But was that Astros game against? Yeah, it's back at home. Okay. I was just going with a logical pick since the numbers aren't clear. You know, Astros, good hitting team versus pitcher who hasn't pitched for 2 years. Doesn't seem like a good combo for Cleveland. But again, that could be the betting trap too. So, okay, the Rays and the Red Sox. The Rays are dominating the Red Sox in Boston this year, and if they win today, they'll be 1-8 at Boston. Or excuse me, Boston will be 1-8 at home versus the Rays, and Rays is 18. Baseball is also 18. So I'm wondering if that's where they're going with this riddle. The Red Sox are trying to avoid being swept at home by the Rays. And if Boston didn't lose another game in the series, they'd go into their next matchup with the Yankees with 26 losses in the AL East. However, if you use the rule for S, if you use the rule for S, Rays is also 27. So if they got their 27th loss versus the AL East, it could make some sense. But going in on 26 to the Yankees is sensible too. We saw the Rays were 10-8 on this day in history. If they won, they'd be 11-8. They'd stay at 8 losses in their 19th game on this day in history, 19 the 8th prime. Cash Caller?
Hey, so the all-time record at home for the Red Sox against the Rays is 118-76. So they could pick up the 77th loss today. Boston Red Sox equals 77.
Sure.
Yesterday, what was funny about that was Alex Cora's birthday is 10/18/75. So yesterday's all-time record showed Alex Cora's birthday in the record.
Sure, 11875. I see. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it should seem like today would be another loss for them, which is set up to 18, keep them on 118, and have the 77.
Yeah, that 1-8 does stand out in a big way. I'd say the only thing going for him is just against possibly staying on 26 losses versus the AL East to go into the Yankees series. So,
also another thing to keep in mind: today is 51 days until the start of the World Series. 7 weeks, 2 days, and so tonight actually has a pretty good riddle for the Padres to win, because Kershaw could get a 72nd loss, and the Padres would be showing a 51-57 in their record, like 51 days to 57. World Series equals 57.
Yeah, I'll look more at that.
Something to keep in mind when you get to it.
That this day in history thing looked real good for the Dodgers to win. They'd be 65-63 if they won. San Diego Padres is 65 and Padres is 63. So,
yeah, it's an odd one. I know, like, me and Simple were talking about this last night. He's on the Dodgers, but when they have these like weird syncs with the World Series like that, something's going on with that, because they can either pick up their 72nd win as a team, or Kershaw can get a 72nd loss, and it sinks in with the date duration. So,
okay,
I'll let you get back to it.
All right, yeah, interesting. Okay, today's Cashner's 239th day of his age, 52nd prime, but that number's not up on the board. Tampa Bay Rays is 52 though. Okay. McKay has a chance to become 2-1. It's a 21 day. Cashner has a chance at the primes thing, but the primes don't come through that often with pitchers. If he won, Boston is 22, 11, 5th prime. Cashner could get to 2-2 with Boston. Let's see who he pitches against next. All right. Yeah, I just don't like this series because the last 2 days, the Rays had tiny riddles that came through. The Red Sox had a lot lined up for them, but now it's the last game of the series, and the last game of the series is oftentimes where a riddle breaks so a team doesn't get swept. But that 1-8 at home is staring us in the face because Rays is 18, and so is baseball. Big baseball number there, 18. All right, let me see. One, two, three, four, five. So he will face the Blue Jays next. And clear with that. And wait a minute. The Rays' next loss is 49, and they face the Marlins next. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he'll face the Royals next. Cashner. Kansas City Royals. Do they have an 86 connection? Royals. Yeah, Kansas City Royals is 86. If he lost this game and the next game to the Royals, he could get his 86th loss. Is the game in Kansas City? No, it's at home. Well, it's possible. If he lost his next two starts, he could get to his 86th career loss against the Kansas City Royals. Make sure I'm not missing something with the Rays here. Let me see when these teams play each other next, actually. Let me see when the next series is. September 20th. That'll be a date with 11, 23 date numerology, 29, 68 date numerology, 41, 68, 41, 23. And September 20th, 263rd day of the year. Is that the 56th prime? 56th prime. 102 remaining. I'm just thinking about their overall record and how any of these things might line up. Date was 68 numerology, but they're already 6 and 8. The next game was in Tampa Bay, wasn't it? If they split the next two, the Red Sox could become 7 and 9 versus them for the year, and Tampa Bay 79. So that'll probably happen, but that doesn't exactly help us with today. 4-game series. Okay, let me see. Fenway one more time. Something with Fenway. Today's got the 48 date numerology. Fenway's 48. Yeah, there's a real narrative for the Red Sox to sweep, the Rays to sweep, but they'd stay at 22 away losses as well in Boston if they did. And they'd get their 63rd win, which is symbolic because Rays is 63. But yeah, I'm not crazy about it just because this series, we've seen how this series has been. A lot stacked for Boston the first 2 games, but there was one riddle both games for the Rays, and they did take it. So I just The Red Sox just getting swept at home doesn't seem right, but the riddle is there, so I don't like it either. I'm being real picky today. All right, Leicester, if he loses, is 9-7 on the season. 97, 25th prime. St. Louis equals 25. Flaherty with a loss would be 4-7. St. Louis is 47. He got a no decision in his last start. He had an opportunity at that as well. But it does seem likely that he'll end up being 4-7. I see the lines in favor of St. Louis 115, like St. Louis is 115. Schilt's next win is 99. It's not in Wrigley here, but Cubs equals 9. Illinois equals 99. Let's see. Is that a prime number? 549 is not prime. Cubs are 22-20 versus the NL Central. It is a 21-date numerology. And earlier in this series, game 1, there was a chance for the Cubs. What was it? The 22 date, the Cubs had the chance at their 22nd win in the NL Central. They didn't get it. So the date numerology has not tracked so far in this series. Cubs got their win yesterday, and it was about the riddle with the head-to-head record. Yesterday with the 23 date. Let's see. Cardinals could also get their 21st loss. Get their 55th win. Chicago Cubs is 55. Let's take a peek at who these teams are facing next, these pitchers. Let's see here. Cubs schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Leicester will face the Athletics next. And again, if he goes to 9-7, that makes a lot of sense for who he faces. The Athletics is 97 and 106, but the 97 does play a lot more. And tomorrow the Cubs play the Brewers. Was that in Milwaukee? No, at home. So I don't see a good clue for that, actually. Their next home one will be 37. Milwaukee's 37. But okay, so Leicester with a loss would make more sense than a win. No decision also possible. Flaherty, though, let's see who he's got. Cardinals schedule. 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll face the Dodgers next. Dodger Stadium's 211, if I'm not mistaken. The 47th prime. Yeah, so if he went in there 4-7, that would make some sense as well. Okay. Again, we saw that Schilt's next win is his 99th. Cubs 9, Illinois 99. There was a huge riddle with 9 and Joe Madden earlier this season. Some of you might remember that one. Felt like that was one of the easier picks of the year. Yeah. It's not an easy pick, I would say, this game, because again, you can make an argument for both pitchers to lose today, and it only takes one riddle to upset. But I do like John Lester's riddle to lose a little bit more, just because 9 and 7 is like 97, the 25th prime. St. Louis is 25, and it matches up with the Athletics, who get that number a lot. Then again, if Lester didn't lose today, got a no decision say, I mean, he could become 9 and 7 versus the A's, but it looks like that's where his record's heading, whether it's this game or the next game. So, one other thing I should say for Flaherty is that if he lost, he'd get his 18th career loss, and Cubs is also 18. You know what I need to do? I need to do the splits here. Let's look a little bit deeper. Let's look at the old splits. Cardinals. He's 8 and 5 versus the Cardinals. And I don't think, I know the name of the stadium equals 85. I don't think we have a connection to any other number. Uh, 30, 69. Whoever wins this game's at the top of the division. Here, we'll look at the splits, then we'll also look at when they play each other next to see if it gives us a clue. Okay. Eight and 5 versus Cardinals. And 4 and 1 at Busch Stadium. With a 1.98 ERA. So he's pitched really well historically at St. Louis. There's a good track record there. Let's see what Flaherty's done so far against the Cubs. Flaherty is 1 and 2 versus Cubs. Well, maybe I'll put it. Two. If you got to 1 and 3, it's kind of like 13. You know, when you write out 13, it's 45 like Cubs. Let's see what his record is at home. He's 7 and 9 at Busch Stadium. Cardinals. The Cardinals' next win is 58. Oakland's 58, who they play next. So they could either go in there with 58 or pick it up there. It's tough too. It's a 2-game series. If they got 59, that could also make sense because Oakland Athletics is 277, the 59th prime. What's their away record right now? 27 and 27 away. Huh. All right, let's see. This Wyndham Championship must be like a putt-putt course. That many under? Okay. Anyway. Go back and look. When we're done with baseball, we'll go back and review what's going on in golf. All right, I was looking at, I want to see something. Okay, the Reds and the Braves game. So Dace Sclafani comes in 6-5. If he loses, he's 6-6. Cincinnati 66. That's very probable. And Fried is 13-9, 12 or 11-4 for the season. I'm not gonna fret the prime number thing too much. Let's see. If the Braves win, it's the first game at home. They'll be 2-2. Braves is also 31, but that 22 is the better number. So Braves can get to 2-2 versus the Reds. We saw on this day in history was the one concerning thing that they could get their 66th loss. If I didn't know that, I'd be super strong on the Braves because I like him becoming 6-6 and I like them getting to 2-2. We've only been just keeping track of on this day in history for 2 days, but so far the riddles that have Gematria connections to teams. Let's see who these pitchers pitch next. All right, schedule. Whoops. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to face the Angels next. And I think Angels has the connection to 85 as well as 58. Yeah, Los Angeles Angels is also 85. So if he won, he'd have a chance to get to 8-5. Okay. And let's see. Four-game series. What could make sense by the end of this series? If the Braves split the series, they'd be 66-47. Cincinnati 66, Ohio's 47. If they lost 3 out of 4, which doesn't seem likely, but if they did, they'd get to 26 home losses. Reds is 26. Atlanta. Missing something. Oh, what's Cumberland? We know those numbers Cumberland play. Cumberland. 39, 60, 93. If they lost 3, they'd get to 33rd. 3 losses, ATL 33 down on the 33rd parallel. All right, let's look at the Braves a little bit more. Brave schedule. One, 2, 3. Twins. Minneapolis, Minnesota's 114. If you went in there, we've seen some Twins pitchers do that. Let me make a note about that. Okay. Let's look at the splits here. Braves. 1-1 versus the Braves with a 4.15 ERA. And 0-1 at Atlanta. Okay. And let's see, Fried versus the Reds so far. Ooh. Oh, he hasn't pitched much. Okay. But he got rocked. He's never started against him. So it looked like he did some relief and had a bad appearance. Check one more thing here. Okay. So again, DeSclafani can fall to 6-6. Cincinnati is 66. We've seen that come up with Cincinnati plenty. But he does face the Angels next, and Los Angeles Angels is 85. So if he won, he'd have a chance to get to 8-5 versus the Angels. Fried's 13-9 and 11-4 for the season. He plays in Minneapolis next. Minnesota's 114 if he got a no decision. And it's his first start versus the Reds. He struggled in middle relief last time he faced them. I don't know if that's really worth considering because he's pitching well this year. So he's a new person now, or he's a new pitcher at least. Again, the Braves are 1-2 versus the Reds. 22 is a big number with the Braves. Their name equals 22 in the most pure cipher. If they win, they're 2-2. Braves is also 31, though, if you use the rule for the S. Reds could become 3-1 versus Braves, but this is the first game in Atlanta this year. All games have been played in Cincinnati so far. If it wasn't for this day in history, which, again, I mean, we've only been looking at it for 2 days, so we don't have a lot of history, but we have noticed that so far the riddles that have come through have been the ones that connect the Gematria with the city. Now, that said, the ones that have come through, they haven't really had conflict with other things. They've been nice reads because they've gone with the narrative of the way we were already looking at the game. The Diamondbacks beating that first game against the Yankees. It already looked good for the Diamondbacks that game. Plus, we saw they could become 11-7 on that date in history. Arizona Diamondbacks won 17. The Reds, who was it that just got their 70th loss against the Cincinnati Reds? It was yesterday's game. But it wasn't just that we went off of. There was plenty there in that game. Yeah, it was the Pirates. The Pirates looked good to get beat yesterday. Plus, they picked up their 70th loss all time against the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati Reds 70. So, Twins are looking good. So hopefully you guys got on that. Phillies up early on the Giants. Dicey game. So still got to learn more about this day in history before start to make any big calls with it. But that's pretty much the only concern I have about the Braves today. If I wasn't looking at that, I definitely prefer the Braves, even though Dace Clefini with the win would have a chance to get to 8-5 versus the Angels. I still like the more immediate Cincinnati 66 record. Not every single pitcher's record has to line up with the next opponent and the possibility. So let me look more at the National League stats here. Let's see. NL Central. So the Braves' next win against the NL Central is 19. We know Reds is 19. Braves is 67, the 19th prime. 46. They have 60 wins. So if they get 2 more wins versus the NL, they'll have 62. Reds is 62. 29. 33 losses. 60-33. Atlanta is 60-33 versus NL. Reds equals 62. And Cincinnati versus the NL East, 9-7. It became 10-7. It's kind of like 107. The 28th prime. Reds is 28. 33. They have 44 wins versus the NL. 35. 47 losses. Their next loss is 48. Atlanta's 48. 44 and 47. They should lose at least one. I'm not going to put too much stock in that prime number thing. Okay. I need to go back and do that for a lot of games, actually. I'll run back over the games and look at the division records. I think I forgot to do that today. All right, Padres and Dodgers. Lucchesi is 7-5. And is there something about the Dodgers? Yeah, Dodger Stadium 76. So if he lost, he'd be 7-6. Dodger Stadium 76. Kershaw 162-71, 9-2 against the season. San Diego would be a great team to get the 163rd win against. 163 is the 38th prime. San Diego's 38. So that would make sense right there. And I don't believe the Padres have a 72 connection. I know they are 27. Yeah, so that's not there to worry about. Let's see. Today's Robert's 63rd day of his age. Padres is 63. Tomorrow will be 63 days after his birthday. If the Dodgers won 3 here, they'd get to 74 wins. I imagine this is a 4-game series. San Diego's 74. So if this is a 4-game series, I'm thinking the Dodgers taking 3 out of 4 is making some sense. Yeah, it is. So I could definitely see that. That would also give them 43 home wins. San Diego's 43 and 74. So that looks real good for the Dodgers to take 3 out of 4. $74 wins and 43 home wins. San Diego equals 43-74. That just makes too much sense right there. I think that is going to happen. We saw that on this day in history, if the Dodgers won, they'd be 65-63. San Diego Padres 65, Padres 63. So that looks good too. If the Dodgers could win today and tomorrow, they could get to 7-4 versus the Padres and 5-3 at home. Los Angeles equals 53. And again, that would coincide with Dave Roberts. Again, today's his 63rd day of his age. Padres 63. Typically, when the name connects, the birthday span connects to the gematria of a team, it's not good for that team. Tomorrow's 63 days after his birthday. So winning these first two is looking like it makes some sense. See who they got going tomorrow. Well, that's not going to help. But the records are still there. Dodgers win today. I'll be leaning Dodgers tomorrow, too, for the reasons we just discussed. Phillies jumping up on the Giants early. Okie dokie. All right, let me go back and go over the division stats and see if it can help give us some clarity on some of these games that are tight. So the Dodgers and the Padres, NL West. Well, San Diego's narrative would be the date numerology in the NL West. So that's the one real I see for the Dodgers today. Or the Padres. Padres are 20-23 versus NL West, 21 date. So we'll have to see if the date numerology is playing. And 12-22, 42 wins. LA Dodgers is 181, the 42nd prime. 30, 53 losses. Los Angeles 53. Los Angeles also 55. Caller?
Look, Zach, hey, did you do the football game yet?
Oh, we can do that too. We can do the football game.
Definitely. Definitely. If you can do the decode and do how you're going to do it, like starting the NFL, like if you can do all the things that you would do starting week 1.
Well, it's going to be hard because I don't think they keep preseason stats for people's records.
I see.
But we can look at the things that we can.
Like people's for the wide receivers and the quarterbacks and stuff like that.
Because they don't have their records, you know, those don't count against their official stats.
I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure preseason is calculated. The preseason should be like on the overall team.
Oh, well, I don't think there's a place that tracks a team's historical preseason record versus opponents and all that. See what I mean?
I see. Can I look it up then? Because I believe they do. Because I definitely believe they do. I see. Can I look it up and then I'll call you back? But you can look at the football game.
I will definitely look at the football game and see what jumps out. And if you do find something like that, awesome. But I've never seen anywhere that keeps the preseason records and all that. So, all right.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, because the guy. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to look it up now.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.
That's it. Okay. So do I have it? Did I write it all? I need the Dodgers too. Dodgers 37-68. and 33 versus NL. And the NL West, 31 and 16. All right, so I don't see anything too crucial in that. Let me go back. Cardinals and Cubs, we got it. Guess we got the stats there for that. Was there anything where I skipped it? AL Central. This Blue Jays and Orioles series, I need to go back and look at the division. All right. Baltimore, 16 and 30 versus the East. Caller?
What's up, Zach? Hey, are you doing the Hall of Fame game?
That's this Sunday, right?
That's tonight.
Oh, tonight. We are going to do tonight's game. Okay, yeah. So we're going to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I made a bet on the Twins game today. You know why? My favorite thing. Did you see that?
Oh, there must be some prophecy thing there.
No, that works too. But the MLBN, 41 and 67.
Well,
so the Twins, once they win, they get both.
That is good, but last week I was documenting how the MLBN network riddles weren't coming through at all. So,
but you notice I never called you until I know, and it's just like I just knew. I have the intuition of knowing that this was going to happen today. You notice those things that they didn't happen. I never call you.
What did I say about the Twins yesterday?
Huh?
What did I say about the Twins yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Twins look good today. So.
Yeah. So it was a good. I just saw the 41 and 67. I'm like, yeah, that's.
Let's not jinx it though. It's not over, but they did look good today. All right, but yeah, that is a good observation that it hit in two ways on the MLBN. So maybe that's what it takes. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Now one more last thing. Now, how is it a record? Is it a Hall of Fame record keeper? Like, what's the record of the Hall of Fame games? Anything?
I'm sure we can pull up something for the history of the Hall of Fame game. I'm sure there's something like that since it's probably the most notable preseason game there is. But we'll look at how everything lines up with the QBs, with the star players, with the coaches, the season. We'll see if we can get some big clue out of this. So.
Yeah, because it's Denver -2.5 right now. So.
Who are they playing? I haven't even looked at it yet.
The Broncos playing Atlanta. I want to say the Falcons or somebody.
Falcons and Broncos, huh? So okay, that's an old Super Bowl matchup. That was Super Bowl 33, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
John Elway.
Yeah, man. Thank you for doing it. I'm gonna watch it when you get ready to do it. So you're gonna do it after the baseball, right?
I'm gonna do baseball. Just look at golf real quick. What's going on, and then we'll get to the football game because the football game. What time's it start at? 7 Eastern time.
7. I'm in the Midwest, so 7 my time.
So 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah, we will do it very soon.
Right.
Just finishing up baseball here.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Welcome. See you. Okay. So I was saying, okay, Orioles and Toronto. So Orioles on 31 wins versus the AL. 31 wins, 61 losses. Orioles. And 16-30 versus AL East. Toronto Blue Jays is 59, the 17th prime. If they only won one. What else? Toronto comes in with 41 wins. Baltimore's 41. I forgot how to speak. Toronto is 41. 56 versus AL. Well, what's interesting about that is Baltimore is 41 and 58. If they drop 2, they'd have a very Baltimore record. 22, 32, 41, 46, 56. 15 and 28 versus AL East. Okay, so that stands out. It's not helping me pick this game, though. Today's games are just tight. If Toronto does drop today, though, I would think that this will probably happen, this 41-58 thing. So they could end up being 42 and 58 by the end of the series if they won. Or wait, it's a 4-game series. But it could end up being 42 and 58 because Baltimore's 58 and Orioles is 42. All right. Brewers. Wait a minute. Brewers, A's, I got that already. Mets, White Sox, I got that already. Yeah, I guess we did cover it. Yeah, today's just a tight day. Today is just a tight day in baseball. But if you took that Twins game, so far that's looking good. Don't want to jinx it. Giants and Phillies. It was another tight one, but yeah. It's a lot of game left, but Phillies are looking good early. Both teams already made an error. Huh? If I see Arrieta get to 9 and 8, I don't think I'll ever doubt 98 in Philadelphia again. That again, we talked about earlier about the Eagles and all their championships. 98, they're all 98 centered. Profits 98. That's all I can think of with that number in that city, just because getting its name from Revelation, Philadelphia. All right, let's quickly just go back over baseball. So we liked the Twins today, as we discussed yesterday, mostly because of the starting pitcher for the Twins could get to 8 and 5. Twins is 85. Miami Marlins is 85. Also, they could get their 36th away win. Miami 36th, get the 67th win. Kansas City 67. Go into the Kansas City series on 67 wins. And stay at 41 losses as well. Marlins is 41. And as the caller just pointed out, MLB and the network it's on is also 67 and 41. So that's another good observation. This Giants and Phillies game, the Giants do have a chance to rally, but again, the riddle for the Giants to win is to become 2 and 5 at Philadelphia, Giants 25, SF 25, and give the Phillies their 25th home loss. Also, Arrieta, if he did end up picking up the loss today, he could get his 76th loss. San Francisco is 76. But on the flip side, if Philadelphia wins, they're 6 and 1 at home. Philadelphia is 61, and they get their 50th win versus the NL. San Francisco 50. So, one of many tight riddles today. This Mets and Yankees series, if Wheeler loses, he gets his 37th loss. Chicago's 37. Notice the Mets are big favorites on the road again. Yesterday, the White Sox had their ace on the mound and lost. Today, they got their bum, but the line's about the same, which to me is just bizarre. If Wheeler lost, he becomes 7 and 7. Again, that's a number that plays in Chicago. It's the neighborhood. It's the city divided into 77 neighborhood areas. C's with the win would be 2 and 3. He plays Detroit Tigers next, which equals 83, the 23rd prime. That would give him a chance to get to 3 and 3 versus the Tigers if he won today. He'd have to win today to have a chance to get to 3 and 3 versus the Tigers. And that likely would happen if he won today. I mean, the Tigers aren't very good, except for when they play the Angels. The Brewers and Athletics game, they switched out their pitcher this morning, the Athletics. They had in Mangden, and then they put in Homer Bailey, who just came over from the Royals. If Anderson loses today, he'd be 5 and 3. for the season. Milwaukee's 53. If Bailey lost, he'd become 2-2 with Oakland. Oakland's 22, but Oakland's also 31. He could become 3-1. Bailey's going to face the Cubs next at Wrigley. If he lost today, he'd be 9-8, and he'd be pitching in Illinois at Wrigley next. So if he lost today and lost at Wrigley, he'd become 9-9. That matters because Cubs equals 9, Wrigley's 99, Illinois 99. It's 90 days after Bailey's birthday, who they subbed in, and Brewers equals 90. And again, it's not a perfect riddle, but it does seem more often than not when a birthday lines up with a team, it's not a good sign. But the problem is Melvin, the coach of the Athletics, it's 277 days after his birthday, and Oakland Athletics is 277. So can't make a read off that. If Council didn't win this game, he'd stay at 373 wins as a manager, the 74th prime Oakland, California 74. A lot of back and forth. We're starting to look at this day in history, and I'll tell you what, if today I see all the riddles come through, where again the Gematria lines up with what could happen, tomorrow I'm going to start using it, because we've already seen through 2 days the pattern that has tracked is records in Team Gematria. So if the Brewers lose today, they'll pick up their 34th loss versus the Athletics. Athletics 34. And just like the Angels yesterday, they picked up their 33rd loss all time against the Tigers. Tigers 33. So far, I think every riddle, we've only looked for 2 days, but so far, every riddle where the Team Gematria can track with this day in history, I think they've all hit. But it's only 2 days. So, and we know how things ebb and flow. It's possible that we just started looking like, well, we're in this flow of this, or maybe it is always this way. This could be the ultimate hack that we've been looking for right here. So Brewers lose today, remember that. And Blue Jays and Orioles game, it's just this way and that way. If the Blue Jays do lose today, however, I think there's a good chance they might lose tomorrow as well because of their AL record. They could become 41-58. Baltimore's 41-58. But there's some things here. It's just like if the Orioles lose today, they'll be 36-72. Toronto's 36-72. So another tight one. Hold on, I just thought about something with Thornton. Just thought about something with him. If he won, he'd be 4-7. Maryland is 47. And I see something else earlier. Wasn't I talking about a 34? Maybe not. Yeah, it's just a tight one. Okay, and then the Astros and Indians, this Salazar hasn't pitched for about 2 years. I mean, logically, you'd think guy hasn't pitched for 2 years. He's coming in against one of the better hitting teams. That's not a good sign. Color?
Yeah, Zach. I noticed about the A's game, like the Mets and the A's game, they both put up, the score was 4-2 yesterday.
Right.
So, and I noticed that the Oakland A's going for their 24th loss, and then Milwaukee staying on 24, and then the Mets, they on 24. So I'm wondering, do the score from yesterday, because I was going to call in earlier, but I didn't want to jinx it because Philadelphia did it. They doing it now. They had 51 losses. The score was 5-1 yesterday. So they stand at 51 losses today. So I'm just wondering, from yesterday's score, about the 2-4, I'm thinking they're going to play both in the White Sox game, and I'm thinking the Brewers in the A's game.
Okay, well, with regards to the Mets equals 24 and White Sox equals 42. So that score made a lot of sense for those teams yesterday. The Brewers and Athletics, they don't have connections in their names to those numbers. If the Brewers won today and gave the A's their 24th loss, again, Oakland Athletics and Athletics both equal 97, the 25th prime. So that could be their reason to pick up that 25th away win.
Right.
But yeah, you could be onto something there with the score. So
Yeah, and I noticed when the Mets, the Mets won 6 straight, and they won it in their 52nd game. So I know when you write out 6 is 52.
Right.
So I'm wondering, do they stay right there since they got the 6 straight? But I don't know, just observing. I'm thinking like yesterday's score is definitely going to play out today.
Yeah, you're right about that. I overlooked that yesterday. The 6 straight and the 52nd win. That is a good observation. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think 52. Yeah, 52 doesn't connect to either team, so it could end there though. I mean, it is a nice little tribute. So,
All right. And the Dodgers, they playing in their 111th game. You didn't 1-1-1. Do that correspond with anything? Because I was liking the Dodgers today just because they can do the 41-14 thing.
Well, they used to be a New York team. New York's 111. They're old New York team. So I liked the Dodgers because Lucchesi can become 7-6 in Dodger Stadium 76, and Kershaw can get his 163rd win, the 38th prime San Diego's 38. And it looks like the Dodgers should win 3 out of 4 because they'll get to 74 wins and 43 home wins. San Diego's 74 and 43. So I think the Dodgers will do some work in this series.
Yeah, I was thinking they go 43 and 14 because those are the prime numbers anyway. So I was thinking they at least win 3 straight.
That very well could be how it is. It looks like they'll win their first 2, I was saying, because if they win 2, what was my note about if they win 2? What was it? Oh, yeah. If they win their first 2, they'll be 7-4 versus the Padres against San Diego 74, and they'd be 5-3 at home, Los Angeles 53. So the only thing I could see happen for the Padres this day is they could get their 21st win versus the NL West on the 21 date numerology. But again, the date numerology is not real consistent right now, so I like the other things more.
Right.
All right.
I'll let you.
All right. Appreciate it. Later. So he said Phillies, they lost 5-1 yesterday. And a lot of times the scores do lead into what the record will be. So they picked up their 51st loss, losing 5-1. So what the 49ers record is in Super Bowls now, 5-1. But so he's saying they stay on 51 losses today. Okie dokie. So yeah, it's a lot of tight games. I don't even know if it's worth reviewing, but just for people who got here late, I just want you to see what we're looking at. So I was talking about this Astros and Indians game, and Salazar, he's been out for about 2 years, comes back with a career record of 38 and 33. Astros is 38 if he didn't get a win today, stay there. Indians is 34 if he got a loss. Cleveland's also 33. But again, I think anytime you got a pitcher that's just been traded or he's making some return after, it's good to just sit out and watch that game. It is 78 days after Hinch's birthday. Cleveland equals 78, and typically for the team that the birthday distance connects to, it's not a good sign. Just like yesterday, it was 77 days after Hinch's birthday. Houston 77. Houston got wiped out. So could be the day to return the favor. Indians are 3-3 versus the Astros. I can go either way. Indians is 34, Astros is 43, so that's not helpful. And if the Astros did lose this last game of the series, I'd say this is the best shot for the Indians to win right here, an upset, is the Astros picking up their 33rd loss versus the AL, because Cleveland's 33, Ohio's 61. But with Salazar on the mound making the return, it just makes me a little bit anxious. That said, Salazar in his limited games versus the Astros, he has pitched well, and he's 1-0. So 2.25 ERA through 4 starts. And if he comes back and doesn't skip a beat, maybe the Indians do make this happen. So I wouldn't bet on the Astros just because they don't pay anything. And I don't even know if there's enough games today to mix up like a $5 bet. The Indians on the long shot, but this is the Indians' riddle right here to win their AL record. Astros being 61 and 33 because Cleveland's 33, Ohio's 61. So Cleveland can also get their 40th loss versus the AL, and Houston's 40. So it's not out of the question either. All right, Rays and Red Sox. Again, the last 2 games, the Rays had 1 riddle, the Red Sox had a bunch, but the Rays won both. Today, The Red Sox are trying to avoid being swept at home by the Rays. However, if they lose, they are going to be 1-8 on the season. We talked about this yesterday, that if the Red Sox got swept, they'd become 1-8 at home versus the Rays. Rays 18, baseball 18. It's possible. If Boston loses today, they'll get their 27th loss versus the AL East. Rays is also 27. If they don't lose, they'll go into the Yankees series on 26 losses. It's also the Rays' 19th game on this day in history. Could be meaningless, but 19's the 8th prime. They could stay at 8 losses. And the Rays do play the Marlins next at home. Their next loss of the season's 49. If they pick it up today, they'll go into that Marlins series with 49 losses. If they don't, they'll probably pick up the 49th loss against the Marlins. I would say that's almost a certainty. The Rays can also stay on 22 losses in Boston today, Boston 22. And if McKay wins, he'll be 2-1 on the season on a 21 day. So for Cashner, he's 1-2 with Boston so far. If he got the win, he'd be 2-2 with Boston, another big Boston number. His next career loss is 85, Boston 85, Red Sox 85. Doesn't have to come today, but you know what's coming. Okay, Cubs and Cardinals, both pitchers can make perfect sense with a loss. So it looks like John Lester, his next decision will be a loss. He's either going to become 9-7 today against St. Louis, 97 is the 25th prime, or against Oakland, again, Athletics 97, Oakland Athletics 97. His one glimmer at a hope of winning is to become 10-6 because Oakland Athletics is also 106, but it's the 97 that plays way more. And again, 97 would also connect to St. Louis or 9-7 because 97 is the 25th prime. But Flaherty can fall to 4-7 too. And St. Louis is 47. He pitches at Dodger Stadium next. Dodger Stadium 211, the 47th prime. So I think I just got to pass on these games. Somebody called in earlier and said they really like the Cardinals because of Lester's record, but Flaherty's record is it's concerning. He could get his 18th career loss too, and Cubs is 18. These teams are fighting for the top. And you know what? I do got to say that it would be a fitting year for St. Louis to win the division, right? They are the only team that with the alphabetic order sums to 115. It's the year of the 115th World Series. Their line today is -115. So this is a big game. This is definitely a big game. And as I say that, I realized that I wanted to go and look down the road at when they play again next, these teams, and I forgot to do that. So the Cubs, I want to see when the next Cubs-Cardinals series is. September 19th. 28, 47, 67 date numerology, 19th prime on the 19th. Is there anything about 19s and their win records against each other? Well, okay, so in light of that date having the 19 connection, 19's the 8th prime. The Cardinals' next loss in the series is 8, which means the Cubs' next win in the series is 8. So that could be a better date for the Cubs to get that 8th win on the 19th. Let me make a note about that. Cubs, Cardinals next play on September 19th. 19, 8th prime. Cubs next win in series for 2019 is number 8. Let me put that note up here next to their records. And the Cardinals do play Oakland next. So if they win today, they would have 58 wins, and they'd go into the Oakland series on 58. Again, Oakland's 58. So I just worry about Flaherty falling to 4-7. Again, that's a big St. Louis number. Just like how yesterday we liked the Cubs to make this series 4-7, which they did. And notice Flaherty comes in 4-6, right? Chicago 46, Chicago Cubs 46. So who did he see pitch against next? Yeah, Dodgers. Yeah, it's not an easy call. I guess one other thing I could note is the Cubs could stay on 21 away wins on a 21 date, but it's not crucial either. Okay, so the Reds and Braves game, if Dave Sclafani loses, he's 6-6, Cincinnati's 66, and Reds could stay on the 21 wins on the 21 date. Fried, there's nothing clear with his record, win or lose. But the head-to-head record, this is the first game between these teams in Atlanta. If Atlanta won today, they would be 2-2 versus the Reds. Braves is 22-31, so the Reds could technically become 3-1 versus the Braves. I would like Atlanta today, looking at those things, which we typically go off of. But because we started looking at this day in history, and so far for the first 2 days, the riddles have been coming through where the gematria aligned, where gematria alignments have occurred so far, just looking at this for 2 days, it's been perfect. So if the Braves lost today, they'd get their 66th loss all time on this day in history, and Cincinnati equals 66. But again, like I said earlier, this has been the game. So far, the games where these riddles have been coming through, a lot's also lined up for the teams, just typically in what we look at, where those games have also been won. So this is the first game where it's like really conflicted. So I just want to see. I want to see if the Reds win today. And if it does, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to start using this. So, because so far, just going off this day in history, it's been really good, but it's only 2 days of observation. You need more than that to have confidence, but this is the only thing I could see going sideways for the Braves here today, this day in history. And Dodgers, they have one thing going against them today. It's that the Padres can get the 21st win in the NL West on the 21 date, but the date numerology is not consistent right now. And it really does look like the Dodgers will win 3 out of 4 in this series and start off the series by winning at least the first 2. As the caller said as well, if the Dodgers won the first 3, they'd be 43-14 at home, 43 the 14th prime, and San Diego equals 43 as well. So I like the Dodgers in this game. They're not a great payout, but Lucchesi becoming 7-6 at Dodger Stadium, 76 makes sense. And same with all the head-to-head records. Dodgers win the first 2, they'll be 7-4 versus the Padres. San Diego 74, they'll be 5-3 at home. Los Angeles 53, they win 3 out of 4, they'll have 74 wins and 43 home wins. San Diego 74-43. So I would take Dodgers to win the series. I think that will be happening. The numbers are just too good. Phillies up 5-0 on San Francisco. San Francisco 50, going for that 50th win in the National League as well. And Twins are staying on top of the Marlins. That's good because that was one game that I did like today. So, okay, so let's look at the golf tournament real quick. Let's go over yesterday's notes and see what we see. Just see if we can get a head start. And again, I'll put up a post today when this is all over. I need this thing to drop here so I can get back to my post. Come on, notification. Okay. So this On guy's at the top. And what did I write about him yesterday? I remember covering his name. He's got such a... Did I write out his whole name? My goodness. He's got the wrong name to look up. Everybody's got an Un in their name. Was he one of the favorites? Oh, God. Okay, hold on. Where was he at? I know he's in this post. No, he was one of the more long shots. All right, let's come down here. All right, here we go. He's down here. 94th event. Did he have numbers that we were looking at? He's got the 102. So he's got that big 102, that number we've seen with recent winners, Wyndham Championship 102. So we see why he's up at the top. And this is why golf is awesome. What are his odds? Doesn't mean he's going to win the tournament, but he's 66 to 1. Was this the guy who's also in his? No, it's not him. Oh, it was that Wyndham Clark who's in his 33rd event. He's also 66 to 1. But okay. On also is 58, like Wyndham Hotels. We saw that last year's winner had the Wyndham Hotels connection. And it's 318 days after his birthday, that reverse of pi. That means the tournament will end on his 322nd day of his age as well, which is something I didn't catch yesterday. 321 days after his birthday or his 322nd day of his age. But yeah, he's got that Wyndham Hotels, that 102. Or Wyndham Championship. Sabatini, he was just up there. Teeter, Webb Simpson's the favorite. Snedeker, the defending champion. Laird had the nice birthday alignment. Poston had the numbers. So a lot of names up there right now are names we definitely talked about yesterday. Siwoo Kim, who won a few years ago, who's a long shot as well. He's hanging there. Ches Reeves got the double 102. Hovland, I forget what it was with Hovland. I think he's got the connection to Greensboro. But so far, so good. This is a good look so far. So I think the roulette wheel is going to be hitting again. Let me see Sabatini. I don't remember what I wrote about Rory Sabatini. All right. 6 wins, 76 top 10s. Well, you know what's interesting about Sabatini is that I bet you his next top 10 is a win. Because look at that, it'd be 777s, right? Like the roulette wheel, or like not the roulette wheel, but what do you call it? The slot machine. 7 wins, 77 top 10s. That's interesting. Doesn't have to be this tournament, but what else did I have for Sabatini? 121 days after his birthday. He just didn't have a lot that was standing out to me, Sabatini. All I can think about is how his next. Oh, look at that. Sabatini 77. All right, we're going to have to consider that if he's up there at the top today. We're going to have to take that into consideration, that his next first would be 7. 7th win, 77th top 10. And Sabatini 77. But he doesn't have the numbers that oh shit. Actually, I screwed up. I missed the R Sabatini's 95. So he has a connection to the course name. That's what he has. He has the course because the Sedgefield Country Club equals 95. So that was something I missed yesterday with him. Where's he at? Sedgefield Country Club's 95. Damn. All right. I'm going to hold on just so I don't forget these things. Let me just update the post right now with these things about Sabatini. And let me add this note about how Sabatini equals 77. But what I missed is that R Sabatini equals 95, Sedgefield Country Club equals 95. Apologies for not catching that yesterday, but he still doesn't have the Wyndham Championship numbers, and we have seen that with a lot of the winners recently. So, but that thing about the 777s is interesting. Let me make sure. I guess the word Wyndham alone, just the numerology of Wyndham would break down to 7, 88, 8 plus 8, 16, 1 plus 6 is 7, Wyndham 34, 3 plus 4 is 7. So it's not out of the question. Again, winners are seemingly always connected to either the course or the tournament name. Who's this Mackenzie Hughes guy? I got to know about him. I don't remember covering anything about Mackenzie Hughes. He must have been way down. November 23rd. All right, let's see. Mackenzie Hughes, 74. Hughes. M. Hughes. I'm not seeing it with his name. All right, let's check how his. Oh, Mackenzie. His first name is 87, like Wyndham Championship. So his first name has the connection. It's not normally the first name, though. But that Wyndham Championship's 87, like Mackenzie. How's his birthday line up? November 23rd, 2018. Wait a minute. Did I just see an 81 with his name? Did I see an 81 a second ago? Okay, so M. Hughes is 81, and this is typically, so he's playing really well on August 1st, right? I bet you he falls off. He's having a great day on 8-1. It's 251 days after his birthday. Now what I can say about that is last year the winner, the tournament began 251 days after his birthday, Snedeker, and ended 254 days after. So he has the same birthday distance that Snedeker had last year. And I haven't seen anyone with the first name so far, but M. Hughes makes sense for playing well today. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to have to start looking at first names too, but I don't want to, it's just like, I don't know if it's worth it. Because so far we have a good system. So far we have a winning system. People are winning a lot right now on golf who are playing this. But we can always observe on day one. So we know what's up with Mackenzie while he's up there right now. I forget what was going on with this. Patrick Rogers. That's another name I don't remember actually. Patrick Rogers. June 30th. So today would be his 33rd day of his age. So it's his 33rd day of his age. Patrick's 33. So I think this is about Patrick. Special day here for Patrick. Patrick Rogers. I think there's a 103. Oh, P. Rogers, 102. Wyndham Championship. There's the big number. Tournament ends on 4/8 this year, August 4th. So he's got the name. P. Rogers, 102. That's the number we really clued in on. Josh Teeter, what was his thing? For some reason, I think golf is the most fun to decode. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're winning so much with it, but Teeter. It's a lot of work, though, decoding all this stuff. So the thing Teeter had was the connection to Wyndham Hotels, like last year's winner. He didn't really have much else going on, but he did have that. Webb Simpson was the favorite. Snedeker, the defending champ. Bryce Garnett, what was his thing? Bryce Garnett's got the Wyndham Hotels connection. Seamus Power. He wasn't part of my decode. March 4th, born on the 8th. What is that? 63rd day of the year. Let's see. 150 days. Seamus Power. I guess I can just spell his name. Seamus Power. Power's 58, like Wyndham Hotels. As Power. About Seamus alone. Seamus is 84, like the date the tournament ends this year. Today has the 48 date numerology too. Okay, but yeah, it's the Wyndham numbers, which is what we track down. The people with the Wyndham connections are filling up the leaderboard, so no surprise. Martin Laird had the really nice birthday. We talked about old Martin. So yeah, things are good. Things are good. It didn't take us long to figure out how to decode the PGA. That's the other thing that's cool. Because it's so blatantly obvious. It's the same thing every single week. People filling up the leaderboard that have the names that connect to the course and the tournament name and the keyword in the tournament name. And the reason I figured out Wyndham Hotels mattered was just by looking at the recent year's winners and who was up on the leaderboard. I kept seeing people whose names connect to Wyndham Hotels. I was like, well, obviously that matters for this tournament. Okay, let's do the Hall of Fame game. No rest for the weary. Let's see here. Or actually, here, let's pull up the ESPN page for this. So I am interested in John Elway. Was John Elway? No, oh, I'm thinking of Brett Favre. Brett Favre was drafted by the Falcons. John Elway was drafted by the Baltimore Colts and traded to the Broncos. I wonder if this final score of this game might end up being 6-1. Or maybe it could be a lot of things. 9-7. Could be all sorts of things. I wonder if the Giants will put something together later. Okay, Broncos and Falcons. What could we do here? So today has 48 date numerology. Atlanta's 48. Here, let me just make a post. I'll just put it together as we do it. All right, let me see. All right. Okay, date numerology. August 1st, 2019. And 213th day of the year, leaving 152 days remaining. 8/1/2019 equals 48. Atlanta's 48. Remember when the Broncos got their asses handed to them in Super Bowl 48? Seahawks equals 48. Seattle Seahawks equals 43. They won that game with 43 points. 8/1/2019. That was a bird team. 21. Does Atlanta have a 21 connection? Okay. Let's get our Gematria out here. Falcons, Atlanta, Falcons. Who can remember the 25-point comeback against the Falcons? I wish my main channel wasn't deleted because that was my favorite video of all time to read the comments. My my Super Bowl 51 prediction video. That video literally had like over 10,000 comments, and about 5,000 of them were just straight trashing me because I guaranteed the Broncos would win the, or not the Broncos, the Patriots would win the game, and it'd be all about 25. And of course, they got down by 25 points, and there's probably 5,000 comments hating. But then there weren't any comments apologizing after the Patriots came back and won. But that's how people are. So anyway. Back then, my videos used to get views. That video had like, I forget, like 300,000 views. Let's see. Okay. My friend was giving me a hard time too. He's like, "Uh-oh, it's not looking good for your Patriots." He was big on the Falcons for that game. He always goes against me though. And they're definitely not my Patriots either. I hate the Patriots. Let's see. So the date numerology connects to Atlanta, which doesn't always mean a team wins or loses, but those are numbers I'm going to be looking for. Any guy wearing number 48 on the field might be interesting. Okay. Let's look at the Gematria Hall of Fame game too, and then we'll measure with the key people here. Hall of Fame game. Actually, I just want to look at the word Hall of Fame alone as well. Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame game. Whoops. I'll just put that up at the top. Okay. The over-under's at 34.5, and Falcons is 34 if you use the rule with S. Remember, 34 ended up being a part of the score with that Falcons game. I don't think. 139 is also the 34th prime. What's up, Izzy?
Hey, Shaq. I've been doing some research on the Hall of Fame game, and I'm gonna throw out a lot of good information, and then I'm just gonna let you work and do your thing, okay?
You're gonna do what?
I'm just gonna let you know a lot of good stuff, a lot of research I told you about the game.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're gonna tell us the research you did on the Boston game?
No, on this game. No, on the Hall of Fame game. On this game.
Oh, on the Hall of Fame game. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm listening.
All right. So this is a big thing right now. The Hall of Fame game. They picked the teams. They selected teams based on the inductees. So
Izzy. Normally I can hear you. Today it's like all distorted. Are you like? Is there any way you can make it clearer?
How about now? Can you hear me there?
That's better.
All right. So usually, so they pick the Hall of Fame games based on the people that they're going to select for the Hall of Fame for the enshrine.
Right.
So there's two players from the Broncos that are enshrined, and it's the owner, Pat Bowlen.
Okay.
Pat Bowlen, and a player, Cat Bailey, for the Denver Broncos. Pat Bowlen recently died on June 13th this year.
Who died this year for Pat Bowlen?
He was the former owner for the Broncos.
Right. Okay. He died this year?
Yes, he died on June 13th of Alzheimer's disease.
Okay. I got to look that up. I forgot how to spell his name. Pat Bowlen.
Pat Bowlen. Pat Bowlen. B-O-W-L.
I got it, Izzy. I got it. Thanks.
All right. And so, I mean, that's recently. That's fresh right now. Also, another player who's going to be inducted is Cat Bailey, which is a cornerback.
Right.
And as far as he won the Denver Broncos under the ownership, won 3 Super Bowls under Pat.
Okay.
As far as Tony Gonzalez is going to be inducted for the Atlanta Falcons?
Tony Gonzalez, he's going in with the Falcons, not with the Chiefs?
Maybe he played for both teams.
You must be young, Izzy. He played almost his whole career with the Chiefs. Yeah, he played at the Falcons at the end of his career. Okay.
Okay. Yes, you're right. And the last thing is right now, I'm kind of leaning with Denver, and because they actually from last season they're coming off a 4-game losing streak, so they're trying to get that monkey off their back. So I'm thinking they're gonna have to give their best chance just try to win a game because they. So that's. But you do your research. And,
I'm digging your Denver pick already. I'm digging your Denver pick already. This is Super Bowl 33, Denver and Atlanta, and Denver Broncos won that Super Bowl 34-19. Again, Atlanta Falcons equals 139. The 34th prime Falcons is 34. The over/unders at 34.5. The Broncos are a 2.5 point favorite. Falcons is also 25, and there's going to be something about Super Bowl 33 here. I'm going to look at how this game lines up with John Elway. He was the MVP of that Super Bowl. I'm not sure. I forget where Champ Bailey was, if he was even in the NFL at that. He must have been. I'm going to have to go back and look at Champ Bailey where he was in the 1998-99 season. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Good work, Izzy.
All
right. Take care.
Bye.
Now I know something about Izzy. To not know that Tony Gonzalez was on the Chiefs, man. I mean, he set all the records as a tight end while he was on the Chiefs. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the over-under is at 2.5. Let me close some things here. Got too many things going on. Oh, by the way, this Pat Bowlen death was 49 days ago. NFL 49, Super Bowl 49, Super Bowl 33. Denver, negative 2.5. Falcons equals 25. Okay. Let me make a note. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 33, which the Broncos won 34-19. Notice that's 53 combined points, right? Here we are. This is the Hall of Fame game after Super Bowl 53 season. Again, Falcons equals 34. Atlanta Falcons equals 139, 34th prime. With this knowledge, you can go through every Super Bowl and see why the score is what it was. Every Super Bowl is fixed. No exception. Let's see. Okay. Let me make this note. Pat Bowlen died June 13, 2019, 49 days before this game. NFL's 49, Super Bowl's 49 in light of it being a Super Bowl rematch. What's Pat Bowlen equal anyway? Let me look a little bit more at his death. So he was born February 18th. He was born on the 49th day of the year too. Huh. Go figure. I gotta note that. Okay. So February 18th to June 13th. How many days did he die after his birthday? 115 days. Killings 115. Masonics 115. But I don't think that connects to our team names. Okay. This one's for John's. Is John Elway already in the Hall of Fame? He is, isn't he? Is there a way for me to quickly search that? Is John Elway in the Hall of Fame? I would imagine he is. Yeah, 2004, 15 years ago. 15 years ago. When you write out 15, it's 38 like Colorado. His birthday is June 28th. I didn't know he was from Washington State. Again, since he was the MVP of Super Bowl 33. Let's see. His birthday. It's 34 days after Elway's birthday. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Again, they won that Super Bowl with 34 points. Hold on, while I'm at it, Champ Bailey stats. Where was Champ Bailey in the 98-99 season? He wasn't in the league yet. Okay, so he came in that year after the Super Bowl. 2019 NFL Hall of Fame inductees. Caller?
Hey, I noticed something that I thought was a little bit funny. So with the Super Bowl 33, the Broncos are favorites by 7.5. They won with the 34 points, and today I believe you mentioned it's like 34.5 is what the over/under or something like that is. So that would be a reduction to 7.5 as well. So it seems
what did you just say?
I think you would said something about like it was like 34.5 points for today is the over/under. So that 34 is like 7, and the Broncos were favorites by 7.5.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it seems to me that things are lining up for the Broncos, but the one thing was I think Joe Flacco or something like that is not going to play tonight, and there's the possibility for Matt Ryan to be in there for some amount. But even if he's in there, it's going to be like 5 or 6 plays at most.
Right.
It seems to me more lines up for the Broncos. But I just wanted to add that 34.5 thing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, good work. All right. So Champ Bailey, who became part of the Broncos eventually, he entered the NFL after they won Super Bowl 33. Okay, so Champ Bailey's one of them. Pat Bullen, who we just saw, died 49 days before this game. Gil Brandt, Cowboys. I guess it shows if they played for multiple teams. So Tony Gonzalez, who'd finished his career with the Falcons, but was more of a Chief. Ty Law, another Bronco. So there's a whole lot more Bronco representation here. Quite a few Chiefs, too. Keep in mind all the Chiefs, because they are a favorite to be in the Super Bowl for the AFC. The other year when Brady was on the cover of Madden, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Eagles. Okay, so we have... All right. Broncos HOF 2019 class. So we had Pat Bullen, we had Champ Bailey, and we had Ty Law. Was that it? Was it those three? I think Gonzalez was the only Falcons member. And I guess he played there enough years, yeah. All right, and for Falcons, we have Tony Gonzalez, who's now doing Modelo commercials. Okay. So the way this game's structured, I'm already thinking the Broncos are going to win. 34 days after John Elway's birthday, that's pretty much all I needed to see. What is it about June 13th, the day? So he died on the day, leaving 201 days remaining, 164th day of the year. Did I run the Gematria on Pat Bolin? Pat Bolin. Bolin. I don't see anything. His name's probably Patrick. I still don't see anything. Okay. I assume because my friend in Atlanta didn't call back, he couldn't find any team's historical preseason stats. And, you know, I've never seen that anywhere. I've never seen anywhere on the web where it has a team's stored stats from their preseason records. So Philly is really smashing San Francisco. Woo! Okay. What am I doing? I've got the wrong thing up. Okay. So we got 3 Broncos in the Hall of Fame class. We got 1 Falcon, who's really remembered as a player for the Chiefs. And Pat Bolin died 49 days before the game. So again, the numbers in the over-under are very related to the Falcons. But that doesn't mean the Falcons are going to win. Again, Denver's a 2.5-point favorite. Falcons is 25. The over-under is 34.5. Falcons is 34 as well. Atlanta Falcons is 139, the 34th prime. The Falcons lost in Super Bowl 33 to the Broncos. The Broncos scored 34 points. John Elway was the MVP. And today's game is 34 days after Elway's birthday. Let me see if NBC factors in here. NBC, I don't see it. Okay. Let me just go back for kicks and look at let me close some windows here first of all. Let me go back and look at 2018 NFL Hall of Fame game. Let's go back and see what there was in the scores. That's interesting that the Ravens played in it last year because Joe Flacco was with the Ravens last year. Last year it fell on August 2nd. Here, maybe it's all here. What year did this start? It started on August 11th in 62. And here, let's just do a search for, let's see how these teams have performed. So the Falcons, they lost their first ever game to the Packers, the Battle of the 44 States. Wait, what? All right. So 0-1, 0-2, 1-2. Maybe they're 1-2. Oh, got it all right here. Nice. 1-2. Let's go back and look at those games a little more carefully. They lost to the Chargers in 94, 25 years ago. Falcons, 25. They lost on this day in history to the Browns. They lost to the Packers September 13th. 13/9. Atlanta Falcons is 139, and so is Green Bay. What's up, man?
I went on Google and I put in Pro Football Hall of Fame game records, and then you go to Wikipedia and they got all the games from, I guess it started in 1962.
Your thing must be behind mine. Yeah, I got it all up here. I got the whole record, and I found that thing, so I'm looking at that thing right now. So the Falcons are 1-2, and they lost on this day in history to the Browns, and that was 38 years ago. So
Yeah.
Falcons is 38
Okay.
too, I think. I think Falcons is Falcons also 38? Yeah, it is. They lost on this day exactly 38 years ago.
Okay. So you like the Broncos?
I like the Broncos. This thing's all synced up with John Elway. So
Okay. So 1-3, 13. Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm just saying. What's Denver's record?
the only thing I could say about the Falcons improving to 2-2 is that Hall of Fame equals 79 the 22nd prime. Hold on, I haven't looked at Denver's yet. I'm just pulling up.
Okay.
Here, I'm gonna hang up so I can do it with two hands.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, see it. All right, here. Let me write down what I just said about the Broncos first. All right. Or Falcons. Falcons are 1-2 in Hall of Fame games. They lost 38 years ago today to the Browns on August 1st, 1981, and Falcons equals 38. So history could repeat itself. I'm trying to think if there's some relationship with the Browns and Broncos. I'm sure there's something there, but top of my head, it's not coming. All right, let's see what the Broncos have done. Broncos. Let me just go down to their record real quick. The Broncos are also 1-2. So either team could get to 2-2. Hall of Fame 79 the 22nd prime. Broncos are 1-2 in Hall of Fame games. All right, let's go back and look at it. So their last one they lost August 9th, 2004. Lost to the Redskins. And then the Lions. They beat 14-3. I'm just thinking about the score of the year. Wait a minute. Oh, no. No, they lost to the Lions. They lost to the Redskins. They won their first ever one. So they played the Lions twice. Okay. The last time they won was 1976, 43 years ago. And Colorado's 43. Football and Colorado are both 43. Okay. Why do I have... I did not mean to type in New England Patriots. It's because I was talking about their Super Bowl. So let's get that fixed. Whoops. Okay, so let's think about that. Let's just, where's the, okay, I guess this is the way to do it. So last year, the AFC won, then the NFC won, then the NFC won, then the NFC won, then or never mind, but is every year AFC, NFC? So last year was, the year before was not. All right, let's see where AFC, NFC matchups is. So last year, the AFC won in the AFC, NFC matchup. The year before that was NFC, NFC. Prior to that, the NFC beat the AFC. NFC beat the AFC. NFC beat the AFC. NFC. NFC beat the AFC. AFC. NFC beat the AFC. There's a real theme here with the NFC beating the AFC, but last year it was different. We still got to look at how things line up with the quarterback and stuff. AFC over NFC there. AFC over NFC there. NFC over AFC. The Broncos, they lost to the NFC team. Redskins. AFC over NFC. NFC over AFC. It doesn't seem like there's any type of specific pattern. The first one of these was 57 years ago. Okay. So who's does it show me who the quarterback is tonight for the Broncos if Flacco's not playing? Julio Jones. I don't want every single team. I guess these are just the injuries for this game here. It doesn't look like that's going to show us. Hall of Fame game preview. Oh, this is coming from the Denver source. Okay, that doesn't give us anything. Okay, I guess you have to have a membership. Scoring could be at a premium when the NFL preseason opens on Thursday. Let's see. Let's check out the name of this stadium real quick, too. Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. 103. Broncos is 103. 283, that's 61st prime. Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Or I guess I'm wrong. Oh, yeah, it is. Let's see. How long has this stadium existed for? 1838. So it's okay. So it was renamed after the Saints owner Tom Benson after his donation. I didn't know that. It was dedicated on August 3rd. Of course, it was. Football's 83. Okay. The previous 7 Hall of Fame games have produced an average of 30.3 points. We can probably see those scores right here. So 16, 17, 2018, 314, 17, 13, 2024. So 2 out of the last 5 would have eclipsed the over-under. 2 out of the last 6, 2 out of the last 7, 3 out of the last 8, 4 out of the last 9, 4 out of the last 10, 4 out of the last 11, 5 out of the last 12, 6 out of the last 13, 6 out of 14, 7 out of 15. So, okay. All right, let's see. Odds makers expect another close, low-scoring game. Denver with a 2.5-point edge. It opened at 34. Okay, we know why. We know why it opened at 34 days after John Elway's birthday against the rematch Super Bowl 33. Which is, you know what? To me, that's a likely score. 33 points. That's a likely score to me. The name Tom is 33 as well. Since it's Tom Benson Stadium, Tom's 33. Benson, if you use the rule for S, is also 33. Just some thoughts there. For the record, I did a lot better than 63 and 46 last year, and the trolls were all over me. We also nailed the Super Bowl, so it's funny how they get a just such an amazing review for that record. That's not really that great. Anyway, let's see here. Broncos starting quarterback Joe Flacco will not play, so the second-round pick out of Missouri could steal the show. All right, so Drew Lock. All right, let's check out what's going on here with Drew Lock. He's our man. So we got Drew Lock versus Matt Ryan. All right, Drew. All right, let's just see what's up with this guy. Andrew Stephen Locke. All right, Andrew Locke. His name's a lot like Andrew Luck, isn't it? 43 like Colorado. Drew Locke. Locke. He's got a name for a future Super Bowl appearance one day. 41. He was the 42nd overall pick of the draft. Okay. So his birthday to the game, November 10th. He's 22 years old right now. November 10th, 2018. "101 days to his upcoming birthday." What was it again? It's 37 weeks and days after his birthday. Drew Lock's 37. Okay, let's just get used to. The NFL's definitely moved more towards young QBs in recent years, but I think the Broncos just paid Flacco a lot to come over. Drew Lock. Okay. And Matt Ryan. If I remember right, Matt Ryan's birthday is May 17th, the 137th day of the year. Let's see. Yep, May 17th. He's 34 years old. Okay. Matty Ice, 76 days after his birthday. Didn't I just see? Was it Andrew Locke? Where did I just see a 76? Swear to God, I saw 76. Oh, it's his full name, Andrew Stephen Locke. It's funny that his full name's 266, just like the full name of the Jesuit order, what the IHS stands for is 266, just like how the current pope's the Jesuit, he's the 266th pope. Because remember the draft before, Denver drafted Michigan's tight end Jake Butt right after Harbaugh shook hands with the Pope. And Denver Broncos is 71, just like Catholic. And Catholic's also 46. Jake Butt was out of Michigan, 46. Just like there's 47 books in the Catholic Old Testament. But I don't think it's any accident that this kid has those big Jesuit numbers. This kid might be something special. We know how many NFL games over the years have been synced up with the Pope too. So speaking of which, hold on a second. What's his full name? Andrew Stephen Locke. I'm just going to make a note about this. All right. All right, Matt Ryan. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, has the Jesuit order's birthday too, September 27th. I just thought about that. And of course, they wear red and black. Super Bowl 51 that they were in was perfectly synced with the Pope's birthday. I think the game was on his 51st day of his age. The game is 76 days after Ryan's birthday. And Andrew Stephen Locke, who's going up against the 76. About the coaches. All right. So his name's 49. These Broncos. Yeah, Broncos is 86 too. Okay. August 22nd. So 21 days before his birthday, which means it's 344 days after. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Is Matt Quinn still the no, that's not his name. What's the name of the I know his birthday is September 11th. What's his name? It is Quinn, isn't it? Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn with the September 11th birthday. The year the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, that first Sunday, the games fell on September 11th. That was the Hillary Clinton fell over. All right, let's see. Let's see. And with regards to his September 11th birthday, Falcons is 119, 11/9, so perfect birthday for the coach. Quinn. The one thing I'd be curious about before I placed a bet on this game, because we don't have our normal variables to work with like we do in an NFL game. We don't have that all-time head-to-head records. You know, we don't have the QB splits and all that there's just nothing for the preseason. And I don't even want to look at their records and factor on +1 for a preseason game because that's not the way it works. What I would wonder is how many times in history the team that had the most people being entered into the Hall of Fame, how many times they've won and lost. Because it's what it makes me think of is so often when a team has a halftime celebration to raise a player's jersey into the rafters, a lot more often than not, the team who has the ceremony for the player, the home team, they lose that game. There's some ritual with that, and it's a high percentage of teams losing. I've seen a couple of times where the team wins, but I've seen a whole lot more where they lose. And that's just the only thing I could think of for going against the Broncos tonight, just that they have 3 players going into the Hall of Fame. The Falcons have 1, and Tony Gonzalez is more of a Chief than a Falcon. But Champ Bailey's also, well, I guess he's fine. Ty Law's not too much of a Denver Bronco. He was just there at the end of his career. But again, this is a Super Bowl rematch, and the Broncos won that Super Bowl 34-19. That was the first thing I thought of, and then I wanted to see how many days it was from Elway's birthday, and it turns out it's 34 days, of course. Falcons have the double connection to 34. So I'm thinking that wait a minute, Super Bowl 33 would have been 26 years ago, so 1993 doesn't factor in. I want to see how many days it is from today to the Pope's birthday, just because both teams have Pope connections. It's a span of 139 days to the Pope's birthday. Atlanta Falcons is 139. Okay. But yeah, things look better for the Broncos to me. Just the one piece of history I would wonder about is here, let's do this again. Let's Hall of Fame game wiki. Let's just see if we can pull up in recent years, if we can answer that question just looking at recent examples. So last year was the Bears and the Ravens. Like did let's see, 2018 NFL Hall of Fame class. I see a bear there, so Brian Urlacher, his team lost. All right. Chiefs, Falcons, Dolphins, Redskins, Chargers, Oilers, Eagles, Broncos, Packers, Ravens. So Ray Lewis went in last year and the Ravens won. But Urlacher went in too. Let's see who had more players. All right, here's our bear, Urlacher. So it was even last year. Ray Lewis, the bigger NFL star than Urlacher, his team won. What was the date numerology of last year's game? 10, 28, 48, just like this year. All right, let's look at 2017. Class of 2017, I see Kurt Warner, who went over and played for the Cardinals. Cardinals lost. All right, let's see. Morton Anderson. Oh my God, because he kicked for so many teams. What was the game again? Cowboys and Cardinals. Terrell Davis, of course. Seahawks. Jerry Jones for the Cowboys. Jason Taylor. LaDainian Tomlinson. Kurt Warner. So Kurt Warner versus Jerry Jones. Well, I guess Jerry Jones is... Owners beat grocery beggars. Okay. About 2016. That was the year they canceled it. It was supposed to be the Colts and the Packers maybe that year. He said the grass was too soggy. Vikings and Steelers. Let's see what happened that year. Oh, whoops, 2015. Again, it was Steelers and Vikings. So Jerome Bettis, Steelers. Shields. Tinglehoff. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Shaq. So I found a couple other more information. So they just decided they're gonna put a decal stickers on the back of the helmets to honor Pat Bowlen. Mr. B.
Mr. P?
No, Mr. B. I said Bowlen. Mr. B.
Mr. B.
That's gonna.
MRB, or are they spelling out Mr.?
No, just Mr. and the letter B, like kind of Mr. T, but instead of Mr. T, it's gonna be.
I'm asking you though, did you see the sticker? Is it MR period B, or they write out Mr.?
No, just MR period B.
Okay, perfect, because that's 33, like Super Bowl 33, and I have a hunch that that's what the score is going to be. It's also 21 and 48, like the date numerology. So
you can look it up. It says the title is "Helmet Decals Honoring Pat Bowlen Added Before Start of Training Camp."
Okay.
That's the title of the article. And one last thing also. So apparently he had Mr. Bowlen had a 35-year career with the team. And remember, the first game they're going to be playing of the regular season for the Denver Broncos. They're going to be playing away. But the second game, the second weekend of October, is the game against Tennessee Titans, October 13th. And one of the president says, we will honor him
and Champ Bailey for his Hall of Fame appearance. So you know what happens when they do those tributes, those games. So I just thought put that out there.
Yeah, and his death's perfectly synced up with this game as well. So, all right, good work, Izzy. Yeah. So I've never made a call on a preseason game in my life, but I'm just trying to find one of these Hall of Fame games where more amount of players went from a certain team than the other. So far, the ones we've looked at, it's all been even, 1-1. All right, Cowboys and Bengals. Wait, no, that's not where I was. Let's look at Steelers and Vikings. But yeah, a lot more is lining up just off what we have to work with for the Broncos here. 2014 game was Giants and Bills. Okay. Bills and Titans. So Andre Reed. Okay. Yeah, it looks like so this is a different year where you have 3 people going in. I mean, it's probably happened before, but this is my only concern is that because they have so many players getting in, maybe the Falcons get to win the game. That's the only narrative I could come up for the Falcons. Other than that, everything looks good for the Broncos. So. Yeah, and I won't be surprised if the score is right at 33 for a tribute to Super Bowl 33. So, if you guys want to continue to comb through and just find if you can find a year where 3 guys went in for one team and 1 guy went in for one team and what happened that year, that would be great. But honestly, I just want to wrap it up. I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings by saying this, but I only charge $5 a month, and after yesterday, it's like I decode 12 hours for you guys yesterday, so it's like today I just kind of want to chill and not go over a million different things, especially since we're talking about a preseason game. Rather save it up for the real season, but it is perfectly synced up with John Elway. So my hunch is 33 points, especially now seeing this Mr. Beast sticker and Mr. Beast 33. All right, we'll leave it there for today. I'm going to put up the review video and then be back tomorrow, same time. So good luck, everyone.